The underestimated defense. The Sol system was considered little more than a cosmic backwater by the grand societies of the Milky Way, while magnificent civilizations spanned thousands of star systems and wielded technologies that could reshape planets. Earth had barely established modest colonies on Mars and Europa. The human race was viewed as an emerging species, still taking its first tentative steps beyond its cradle. Admiral Lorcan of the Kildarian Empire stood on the observation deck of his flagship, the Celestial Hammer, staring at the holographic representation of the Sol system. His mandibles clicked with amusement as he studied the primitive defenses that protected humanity's homeworld. "Their orbital platforms are practically antiques," he remarked to his second-in-command, Commander Vex. "Their ships use chemical propellants and nuclear fission. It's as if they're still in their technological infancy." Commander Vex, a battle-hardened veteran of the Orion expansion, nodded in agreement. The Council was correct to identify them as a potential threat, but I question whether we need the full battle group to subdue them. The Kildarian Empire had ruled the Orion Arm for millennia, maintaining order through technological superiority and overwhelming military might. When their long-range sensors detected unusual energy signatures from the Sol system, the High Council had grown concerned. Humans had not yet developed faster-than-light travel, but some readings suggested they were close, too close for comfort. Primitives who advance too quickly become dangerous. Admiral Lorcan recited the ancient Kildarian wisdom. Better to prune the sapling than face the full-grown tree. The invasion fleet consisted of over 200 warships, a force capable of subjugating an entire sector. For a single planet with rudimentary technology, it was excessive. But the Kildarians believed in overwhelming force. It prevented unnecessary bloodshed in the long run. Meanwhile, on Earth, United Earth Defense Command was on high alert. Long-range sensors had detected the approaching Kildarian armada, although the aliens were unaware of this fact. General Diana Chen stood in the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, her face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays. Around her, military personnel from nations across the globe worked in concert, their previous rivalries forgotten in the face of an existential threat. "They'll reach our outer defense perimeter in 6 hours," her aide reported. General Chen nodded, her expression revealing nothing of the tension she felt. "Activate Protocol Chimera, and get me a direct line to the Artemis station." The aide hesitated. "Protocol Chimera, ma'am. That's never been field-tested under combat conditions, and we never thought we'd face an alien invasion," Chen replied. "Sometimes theory must become practice very quickly." Throughout the Sol system, hidden installations came to life. What the Kildarians had detected as primitive defenses were merely decoys, the public face of Earth's military technology. The real defensive capabilities had been kept secret not just from potential alien threats, but from the general human population as well. Beneath the surface of Europa, massive particle accelerators powered up. In the asteroid belt, seemingly abandoned mining facilities transformed into weapons platforms. And in Earth orbit, satellites that appeared to be communications relays began reconfiguring their components. On the Artemis station, positioned at the L4 Lagrange point, Commander Jackson Reeves received General Chen's transmission. "It's time, Commander," she said simply. Reeves nodded. He had hoped this day would never come, but he and his crew had prepared for it nonetheless. "Understood, General. Artemis is initiating Hydra Protocol. May God help us all." The Artemis station was the linchpin of Earth's defense strategy, a facility that appeared to be a scientific research station, but was, in reality, the control center for humanity's most advanced weapon systems. As the Kildarian fleet approached Mars, Admiral Lorcan prepared his opening statement, the formal declaration of conquest that would be broadcast to Earth's leaders. It was a tradition dating back to the early days of the Empire, giving the soon-to-be subjugated a chance to surrender with dignity. "We come as the vanguard of the Kildarian Empire," he began, his voice resonating with authority. "Your civilization has been deemed a potential disruptor to galactic harmony. Submit to Imperial guidance, and your species will be granted protectorate status. Resist, and you will be. Admiral. Commander Vex interrupted. We're detecting energy spikes throughout the system. Lorcan frowned, his declaration forgotten. Source. Multiple sources, sir. They appear to be. Wait, that can't be right. The tactical display suddenly lit up with hundreds of new contacts. What had appeared to be dormant asteroids and derelict satellites were now active, emitting energy signatures that matched nothing in the Caldarian database. Before Admiral Lorcan could issue new orders, a transmission cut through the Caldarian communications network. A human face appeared on the main viewer. General Diana Chen. Caldarian Fleet. This is Earth Defense Command. You have entered sovereign human territory without authorization. Reverse course immediately, or we will be forced to take defensive action. Admiral Lorcan's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of Caldarian agitation. The audacity. They think they can threaten us. Launch the first wave. Target their primary defense installations. 50 Caldarian destroyers surged forward, their propulsion systems leaving trails of blue energy as they accelerated toward Earth. Their weapons, plasma cannons and graviton disruptors capable of reducing cities to ash, powered up. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Chen watched the approaching destroyers with grim determination. They've made their choice, she said quietly. Activate the Prometheus grid. Throughout the Sol system, humanity's hidden defenses revealed their true nature. What the Caldarians had dismissed as primitive technology was merely the surface layer. Beneath it lay innovations that had been kept secret for decades. The first indication that the Caldarians had greatly miscalculated came when their lead destroyers approached the orbit of the moon. Without warning, quantum filament fields materialized around the ships, disrupting their control systems. Vessels that had been moving in perfect formation suddenly veered off course, some colliding with each other in spectacular explosions. Admiral Lorcan watched in disbelief as his first attack wave dissolved into chaos. What is happening? How are they doing this? Commander Vex's voice was tight with tension. Sir, these aren't the primitives we were led to believe. Their technology. It's beyond anything our intelligence suggested. From the Artemis station, Commander Reeves coordinated the defense. The quantum filament fields were just the first layer. Now, kinetic impactors launched from the lunar surface, accelerated to relativistic speeds by magnetic rails hidden beneath the regolith. These simple projectiles, moving at a significant fraction of light speed, carried energy comparable to small nuclear detonations. The Caldarian destroyers, their shields calibrated to deflect energy weapons, were unprepared for the physical impact. Ship after ship erupted in silent explosions, debris scattering across space. Admiral Lorcan quickly recovered from his initial shock. He was not the supreme commander of the Caldarian fleet merely for his political connections. He was a brilliant tactician who had crushed rebellions across a dozen star systems. Recalibrate shields to deflect physical projectiles, he ordered. Launch the second wave with modified approach vectors. And target that moon base with our primary batteries. The Celestial Hammer's main weapon, a graviton lance that could crack a planet's crust, powered up, its energy signature causing sensor systems throughout the Sol system to issue warnings. General Chen recognized the threat immediately. They're targeting Artemis. Activate the Aegis Protocol. As the graviton lance fired, sending a concentrated beam of distorted spacetime toward the moon, something remarkable happened. The beam appeared to bend, veering away from its target and dissipating harmlessly into space. In the Artemis control room, Commander Reeves allowed himself a small smile. The gravitational lensing technology, developed after decades of research into manipulating fundamental forces, had worked perfectly. By creating localized distortions in spacetime, they had redirected the Caldarian weapon's energy. Impossible, Admiral Lorcan whispered, watching his fleet's most powerful weapon nullified so effortlessly. Commander Vex, what are we facing here? Vex's reply was interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the flagship. Multiple incoming projectiles. They're launching from Earth's surface. What rose from Earth's atmosphere weren't missiles in the conventional sense. They were quantum displacement vehicles, QDVs, craft capable of manipulating their position in spacetime, effectively skipping between locations without traversing the intervening space. To the Kildarian sensors, the QDVs appeared to teleport, vanishing from one position and reappearing kilometers away in milliseconds. Their movements were unpredictable, making them nearly impossible to target. Each QDV carried a payload of zero-point energy modules, devices that extracted energy from quantum fluctuations in the vacuum of space. When detonated, these modules released energy with the destructive potential of a small star going nova. The Kildarian fleet, still reeling from the initial attack, found itself surrounded by these nimble craft. One by one, the QDVs detonated their payloads, each explosion claiming multiple Kildarian vessels. Admiral Lorcan watched in horror as his mighty fleet was decimated. Ships that had conquered star systems were being destroyed by technology that shouldn't exist, not from a species that had yet to colonize its own star system. Full retreat, he ordered, his voice barely audible over the chaos on the command deck. We must inform the High Council. These humans, they've deceived us all. As the surviving Kildarian ships engaged their faster-than-light drives, preparing to flee the Sol system, General Chen issued one final order. Let a few escape, she told Commander Reeves. They need to carry our message back to their empire. In the debris field that had once been the pride of the Kildarian military, a handful of ships managed to escape, jumping into FTL and vanishing from sensors. Admiral Lorcan, watching the Sol system recede on his view screens, knew that this defeat would shake the foundations of the empire. The humans had not just repelled an invasion. They had revealed themselves as technological equals, perhaps even superiors, to a civilization thousands of years older. They let us escape, Commander Vex said quietly, standing beside his admiral. They wanted witnesses. Lorcan nodded slowly. The question is, Commander, what do they want us to witness next? Humanity's reckoning. The remnants of the Kildarian invasion fleet limped back to Proxima Centauri, the nearest Imperial outpost to Sol. Admiral Lorcan's flagship, the once mighty Celestial Hammer, now bore scars from the unexpected battle. Hull breaches sealed with emergency force fields, weapon systems operating at minimal capacity, and a crew decimated by the human counterattack. In the grand audience chamber of the Proxima station, Lorcan faced the holographic projections of the Kildarian High Council. Their elongated faces showed varying degrees of shock and disbelief as he recounted the defeat. Impossible, High Councilor Zevnar said, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. Our intelligence was thorough. The humans have barely mastered nuclear fission. They cannot possibly possess quantum displacement technology or gravitational lensing. I witnessed it firsthand. Excellency, Lorcan replied, keeping his posture rigid despite his exhaustion. They concealed their true capabilities. What we observed as their public technology was merely a facade. The council chambers fell silent as the implications settled over the assembled leaders. The Kildarian Empire had existed for 12,000 years, expanding methodically through the Orion Arm. Never in that time had they encountered a species that had so thoroughly deceived them about their technological capabilities. This changes our assessment, said Councillor Tharvek, the oldest member of the High Council. If they have mastered these technologies in secret, what else might they be hiding? And more importantly, why the deception? The answer came not from Lorcan, but from Imperial Intelligence Director Malcor, who stepped forward, his data slate glowing with recently compiled information. Our deep cover operatives have managed to extract some intelligence, he said. The humans have been aware of extraterrestrial civilizations for over a century. They intercepted our communications, studied our technology from afar, and made a strategic decision to appear less advanced than they truly are. High Councilor Zevnar's eyes narrowed. A species that practices such deception cannot be trusted. They must be neutralized before they expand beyond their system. The decision was unanimous. The Kildarian Empire would marshal its full military might, not just a battle group, but the combined Imperial fleet, over 2,000 warships from across the Empire, and return to Sol. This time, there would be no underestimation, no tactical errors. Earth would fall. Meanwhile, in the aftermath of the battle, Earth celebrated a victory that most of its population had never expected to witness. News channels worldwide broadcast footage of the alien retreat, though much of the actual technology used in the defense remained classified. In the White House Situation Room, President Elisa Martinez met with General Chen and representatives from the world's major powers. The mood was cautiously optimistic, but tempered by the knowledge that they had revealed their hand. "They'll be back," General Chen stated matter-of-factly. "And next time, they'll come with a much larger force." President Martinez nodded. "Then we need to prepare. How long do we have?" Based on their FTL capabilities, they could return with reinforcements within weeks, replied Dr. Sanjay Patel, the civilian head of the Advanced Defense Research Division. "But assembling a larger fleet might take them months." "Then we use that time wisely," the president declared. "General Chen, you have full authorization to deploy all defensive systems. No more hiding our capabilities." Throughout the Sol system, humanity's true technological prowess emerged from the shadows. Massive shipyards in Earth orbit, previously disguised as space stations, began producing warships at an astonishing rate. The Jupiter and Saturn shipyards, hidden within the gas giants' atmospheres, activated their production lines. What the Kildarians and other galactic powers had failed to understand was that humanity's apparent technological backwardness was a deliberate strategy. After detecting alien communications nearly a century earlier, Earth's nations had united in secret, pooling resources to develop technologies that could defend against potential threats. While maintaining a public facade of relatively primitive space capability, they had poured trillions into secret research facilities on the Moon, Mars, and the outer planets. Scientists had reverse-engineered principles from intercepted alien transmissions, then taken those concepts in entirely new directions. 3 months after the initial invasion, Earth's defense grid detected a massive surge of FTL signatures at the edge of the Sol system. The Kildarian reinforcements had arrived, and as predicted, they had brought overwhelming force. The combined Imperial fleet emerged from FTL travel in a perfect formation, a vast armada of warships stretching across thousands of kilometers of space. At its center was the Imperial Judgment, a dreadnought 10 times the size of the Celestial Hammer, capable of destroying entire planets. Fleet Admiral Corval, the supreme military commander of the Kildarian Empire, addressed Earth directly, his transmission overriding all communication channels planet-wide. "People of Earth," he began, his translated voice resonating with authority, "your deception and resistance have been noted. The Kildarian Empire has ruled this sector of the galaxy for 12 millennia. Your technology, impressive though it may be for such a young species, cannot match our combined might. Surrender now, and we will spare your civilian population." In the UEDC headquarters, General Chen and her staff listened to the ultimatum with grim expressions. President Martinez, connected via secure video link, looked to Chen for her assessment. "They're right about one thing," Chen admitted. "The force they brought this time is several orders of magnitude greater than what we faced before. Our current defenses won't hold against that many ships." "Then it's time for Lazarus Protocol," the president said quietly. Commander Reeves, now aboard the newly commissioned Earth flagship Defiance, received the authorization code with a mixture of anticipation and dread. Lazarus Protocol was the most closely guarded secret in human history, a technological achievement so profound that many of the scientists who had worked on individual components had never known its full scope. As the Kildarian fleet advanced into the solar system, they moved with caution, their sensors scanning for the quantum filament fields and kinetic impactors that had devastated their previous invasion force. Their shields were reconfigured, their tactics revised. This time, they believed they were prepared for anything the humans might deploy. What they weren't prepared for was nothing. No defenses activated, no weapons fired. The massive fleet moved past Mars, then Earth's moon, encountering no resistance whatsoever. Fleet Admiral Corval observed this with growing suspicion. "They're planning something," he told his command staff. "Maintain maximum alert status." As the Keldarian fleet established orbit around Earth, their sensors detected unusual energy readings from the sun. Before they could analyze the phenomenon, a blinding flash of light erupted from the solar surface, not a natural flare, but a precisely controlled eruption. In that moment, Lazarus Protocol revealed itself. Humanity had built a Dyson swarm, not a complete Dyson sphere, but millions of solar collectors positioned around the sun, capturing and focusing its energy. For decades, these collectors had been disguised as normal solar fluctuations, invisible to outside observers. The concentrated solar energy surged through the system via quantum entanglement relays, instantaneously powering weapons platforms that had remained dormant until now. From the outer planets came the first response, massive energy beams that cut through space, slicing through Keldarian ships as if their shields didn't exist. These weren't conventional weapons but focused streams of solar plasma, channeled through artificial wormholes, and directed with pinpoint accuracy. Fleet Admiral Corval watched in horror as his rearguard was annihilated. Impossible. They can't have weaponized their star. But the solar plasma beams were just the beginning. Throughout the system, gravitational singularity generators activated, creating localized distortions in spacetime. Hundreds of Keldarian ships found themselves caught in these artificial gravity wells, unable to maneuver or escape. Commander Reeves directed the assault from the Defiance, which now revealed its true nature. What had appeared to be a conventional warship transformed, its hull reconfiguring to expose an array of quantum displacement drives. In seconds, the Defiance was no longer a single vessel but a swarm of smaller craft, each capable of independent action, yet linked through quantum entanglement. Phase 2, Reeves ordered. From Earth's oceans rose massive structures, city-sized vessels that had been hidden beneath the waves. These weren't simply warships but mobile manufacturing facilities, capable of producing combat drones at an astronomical rate. Within minutes, the Keldarian fleet found itself surrounded by millions of autonomous drones, each small enough to evade conventional targeting systems, but armed with enough firepower to threaten capital ships when acting in concert. Fleet Admiral Corval, recognizing the dire nature of their situation, ordered the Imperial Judgment to prepare its planet killer weapon. If the Empire could not have Earth, then no one would. The Dreadnought's main weapon began charging, its energy signature growing exponentially. Before it could fire, however, a final element of Earth's defense revealed itself. The Moon, humanity's constant companion, began to move. What the Keldarians and every other observing civilization had believed to be a natural satellite was, in fact, the largest weapons platform ever constructed. Beneath its natural surface lay a shell of advanced machinery, built over generations in absolute secrecy. As the Imperial Judgment prepared to fire, the Moon's surface fractured, revealing a massive energy projector aimed directly at the Keldarian flagship. Before Admiral Corval could react, a beam of condensed zero-point energy struck the Dreadnought, bypassing its shields entirely. The Imperial Judgment, pride of the Keldarian Empire, and the most powerful warship ever constructed, disintegrated in an explosion that momentarily outshone the sun itself. In the chaos that followed, the remaining Keldarian ships attempted to retreat, only to find their FTL drives inoperable. Earth had deployed a localized space-time inhibitor field, preventing faster-than-light travel within the solar system. Trapped and outgunned, the surviving Keldarian commanders had no choice but to surrender. On the bridge of the Defiance, Commander Reeves received the transmission from the Caldarian second-in-command, offering unconditional surrender. He forwarded it to General Chen and President Martinez, who had already prepared for this moment. Earth's response was not what the Caldarians expected. Instead of demanding reparations or territory, humanity offered peace with conditions. The Sol system and all human-settled worlds will remain sovereign territory. President Martinez declared in her address to the captured Caldarian leadership, "We have no interest in conquest or in dismantling your empire. But know this, humanity will no longer hide in the shadows. We take our place among the galactic community as equals, not as subjects." In the months that followed, delegations from across the galaxy arrived at Earth. The defeat of the Caldarian Empire, previously thought unassailable, had sent shockwaves through interstellar politics. Some came with offers of alliance, others with thinly veiled threats, all left with the same understanding. Humanity had not just defeated the Caldarians, they had been preparing for this moment for generations. As General Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly established diplomatic station in Earth orbit, watching representatives from a dozen alien civilizations arrive for the first Galactic Congress, she reflected on the journey that had brought them here. Was it worth it? Commander Reeves asked, joining her at the viewport. All those years of hiding our true capabilities, living beneath our potential. Chen smiled slightly. "Look at them," she said, gesturing to the assembled alien ships. "They're not here to conquer or subjugate. They're here to talk as equals." I'd say that was worth a century of patience. In the great chamber of the Caldarian High Council, now missing several members who had not survived the Emperor's wrath after the defeat, a new policy was being debated. For the first time, in thousands of years, the Empire would establish diplomatic relations with a species they had failed to conquer. High Counselor Tharvek, who had argued for caution before the second invasion, now found his voice carrying more weight. "The humans could have destroyed us entirely," he reminded his colleagues. "They chose restraint. Perhaps it is time we learned from them, rather than the other way around." Across the galaxy, the story spread of a seemingly primitive species that had deceived the mighty Caldarian Empire, revealed unprecedented technological prowess, and then offered peace from a position of strength. It was a tale that would be told for millennia to come. And on Earth, humanity looked to the stars not with fear of what might come from them, but with the confidence of a species that had earned its place in the cosmos through ingenuity, foresight, and, when necessary, overwhelming force. The galaxy would never underestimate them again.